Hey all, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our video comparison between the Huawei Honor Band 5 versus the Mi Band 4 versus the Honor Band 4. Out of the trio, the Honor Band 5 here is the latest one. It's slightly newer, followed by the Mi Band 4 and the Honor Band 4, which came out around a year ago. All three are budget fitness trackers that can be found for under $30. And to be completely honest, you really can't go wrong with either three of these options. But let's take a closer look at some of the differences, the pros, and the cons. So starting with the design, all three of these trackers do have the exact same screen size, and all three are using the latest AMOLED technology, which gives us a very vibrant and punchy, saturated looking color. All three of them have a dot on the bottom that you can use to wake up the displays, but the screens themselves are all touch sensitive, allowing you to swipe along to interact with the various menus and access the various features. Otherwise, all three are also using Corning Gorilla Glass to protect the actual screen itself, and we also have rubber bands on all three, which are relatively lightweight as well as breathable. These bands all have optical heart rate monitors, which are continuous and can track your fluctuations when you're performing an intensive sports session, and the watch straps can also be removed and customized on both Xiaomi's and Huawei's offerings. On the Xiaomi one, it's a bit more of a traditional design where the tracker itself can be popped out of the rubber band, which is something that you'll need to do, in fact, to pop it then onto the charging dock, compared to on the Huawei trackers, which can be actually charged without having to remove the band, which in my opinion is a slight advantage on Huawei's part in terms of the ergonomics. Overall, I'd say that the dimensions of these trackers are all very much comparable. Same thing goes in terms of thickness. Perhaps the Mi Band is ever so slightly thicker by a hair, but overall you really can't notice a difference, and when you're wearing them, they're equally lightweight, comfortable, and feel nearly invisible. In terms of hardware, the Mi Band 4 and also the latest Honor Band 5 have the Bluetooth 5.0 chip versus the Honor Band 4 from last year that came with a Bluetooth 4.2 chip. So that is one slight upgrade. The Bluetooth 5.0 trackers are slightly faster when it comes to syncing information with your phone. In terms of the battery life and performance, I will say that the Mi Band 4 tends to last a little bit longer than the Honor bands. In my testing, I was able to get roughly 20 days or so of use, well over a week and a half before I needed to recharge it, compared to the Honor bands, which gets me around 2 weeks of use, if not a little bit shorter if the brightness is turned on a little higher and I'm constantly syncing my data. All three of these trackers are having the same waterproof rating at 5 ATM, so you can take a dive with them, you can swim with them, and they can still be fully functional. Otherwise, if we take a closer look at its menu interface, slight differences would be the fact that the Mi Band's transitions are a bit more abrupt. That's simply a part of Xiaomi's style compared to the Huawei, which slowly fades on, and it's a bit more of a kind of smooth transition between its menus. But this is mostly an aesthetic difference. One advantage of the Mi Band is it has the ability for you to control your music. You can swipe over from the main screen and act as a remote control to play and pause and skip tracks when you're opening the MP3 player app on your phone, which is pretty handy if you're jogging and moving around outdoors. Compared to on the Honor Band, this is a feature that's currently missing. However, on the flip side, the Honor Bands have the advantage of better sleep tracking. The technology that they're using is called TrueSense, which is based on Harvard Medical School research, and they've worked on the algorithm with them to make sure it's a bit more precise in terms of tracking your sleep throughout the entire day, versus the Mi Band, which seems to only track your sleep at night. That means if you take a nap during the day, it's simply not going to be registered as part of its algorithm inside. So if you want really precise sleep tracking and also precise notice of the stages of sleep, such as light versus deep versus REM, that's one area where the Honor Bands are better compared to the Mi Band, which only has light versus deep, so it's missing the REM sleep tracking, another stage of sleep which is going on. Now, one other difference though is the Mi Band does have the gesture of covering up the display to turn it off, versus the Honor Bands, which currently don't have that gesture, so it's missing that function. Either it's a proximity light sensor on the Mi Band, or it's just something that uses the multi-touch screen to automatically dim it. But it seems like on the Honor Bands, this is one feature that hasn't been added over just yet. But aside from those differences, honestly, these three bands are pretty much par on par. In terms of accuracy and performance, I really couldn't tell a difference. all three will deliver very accurate results as far as budget trackers are concerned. Now, taking a look at this first screen, it's basically showing our activity for the day, so I can tap on them to take a look at more detailed statistics in terms of steps, calories burned, distance converted, idle, which means number of hours that I haven't moved around, versus on the honor band here, it's actually doing the inverse, which is telling you hours that you've been active. So this is a slight difference there, but pretty much the way they present the information is all very comparable, and you can exit out of an app by swiping over from the side of the bezel, which is the exact same thing on all three. And next function over, heart rate monitoring, also pretty much exactly the same in terms of accuracy. Xiaomi gives us a separate page just to take a look at the weather information, but on the honor bands, they're simply presented from the main watch face. You can tap once on the main screen to take a look at that weather information, but this is currently missing on the Band 4. So the UI here does have a bit more features on the latest Band 5 compared to the Band 4. But otherwise, I think that the presentation of the weather is a bit more accessible on the honor bands, just because having to rely on a separate widget just to see that is a bit more tedious and requires more scrolling. In terms of sports that they are able to track, now they are also quite similar. I would say that the Band 5 does have the most sports technically, but honestly, it's not the biggest deal just because all three of these trackers, again, don't have built-in GPS. So if you're running outdoors, you still have to bring along your smartphone if you want to then see your route on your map later on. But what they are able to do is track, distance that you've walked, calories burned, your continuous heart rate throughout the entire session, and basically the addition of sports is just slightly optimizing the heart rate sensor and the accelerometers for motion sensing to detect, based on the position that you're in for these sports. But they're not really doing too much more other than that. But anyways, we have outdoor running, we have a treadmill, which is basically indoor running, we have cycling, we also have walking and freeform exercise and pool swimming on the Mi Band, versus on the Honor Band that gives us a few more options, including indoor versus outdoor cycling, as well as cross-training exercise and even a rowing mode. Granted, it's not like it's giving you tennis or basketball or badminton or a more popular sport. It's basically still motion-based. But if you are someone who does a wide variety of different activities and you see something in that list that you currently do, then that might be something to quickly keep in mind. Finally, in terms of more on all three of these trackers, I can tap on them to adjust further settings. Things like setting an alarm or a timer can be found. Now, I also mentioned that both on Xiaomi's and Honor's bands, you can pay about $10 more for a NFC enabled variant, so that's also the same. So you can opt for a more expensive model if you feel like you'll be using NFC for mobile payment in the United States, in the UK, or if you want to use it as a pass to scan in different buses and different buildings. So here are the watch faces that you can customize from on the Mi Band. You can see some different colors, and if you turn over to the smartphone app, you can also see a few other options that you're able to push over. But the memory basically holds up 4 watch faces at a time, as you can see there, compared to the Honor Band 5, which has the largest memory out of the three, and it's actually able to hold up to 8 watch faces at a time. So as we cycle along, we can see quite a few default ones which are very vibrant, some of them which are analog, that the Mi Band is currently missing. So if you are someone who wants to also use this for more business environments, the companion application, by the way, also has plenty of options which are more business professional, which give you a kind of an analog watch face design. So you can pick from those in addition to digital ones compared to the Mi Band, which even the companion app only has digital watch face designs. So if you want analog watch faces, that's one area where the Honor Band will give you a slight advantage. And then the Honor Band 4, the older model, has again only 3 watch faces built in by default. And here are the 3 that it's able to show you there. One final thing I want to point out is you do get a few more gestures on the HUAWEI bands, including the ability for you to flick the band just to switch between different screens, which might be useful if, say, your hands are preoccupied or if you're wearing gloves and can't touch the screen itself. You can simply use your wrist motion to go between the various menus and confirm things, versus on the Mi Band, which doesn't have support for those additional motion gestures just yet. So there we have it, a closer comparison between 3 of the most popular low-cost fitness trackers on the market right now, selling for under $30, the Mi Band 4, the Honor Band 4, and the Honor Band 5. Again, differences between them are quite minute, and to be completely honest, all 3 are excellent options for this low price, and they are easily all better values than, say, the Galaxy Fit Band, which sells for 2-3 times the price and has pretty much no other improvements compared to them. So they're all very polished, sleek, as well as attractive options screens for a budget price tag. In terms of functionality on paper, they're also all pretty much the same. Again, the Mi Band has music controls, so if you are someone who listens to music a lot, that's one area where this is something that will give it an edge, versus if you are more of a casual everyday user and care more about sleep tracking, that's where the Honor Bands will have a level up. Personally, I think that the Honor Band's design is also slightly more sleek and attractive because the screen is slightly curved, making swiping motions feel a bit more seamless. And then in the case of the two Honor Bands, again, it's basically the same story. I would say that if you are looking for a new tracker, there really isn't a reason why you should pick up the older Band 4 now, considering that the price is pretty much the same. Even on the Band 4, it hasn't been reduced all that much. And the Band 5 does have a few more features and a slightly more elegant and feature-packed UI. So at the end of the day, all three of these are really solid choices, and you really can't go wrong with them. They all have some slightly minor quirks as well as pros and cons that hopefully we highlighted in this video and will inform you when making your best decision. So thanks for watching this video here at OS Reviews. That's been a closer comparison and look at the differences and similarities between the Honor Bands 4, 5, and the Mi Band 4.